So I'm joined by with David Gaydon, who is the head of music at the Roundhouse. So would you just firstly like to start with, a little description of your job?
Sure, okay, so my job of head of music here means I oversee anything that's basically to do with music. So if I work from the bottom up, so down in the basement where we have our studios, and we work with 3,000 11, 25-year-olds each year, a large portion of which are interested in music. So we have three main strands of things we cover, which is performance, production and ensembles. So in ensembles we have a really amazing choir, we have the Roundhouse Music Collective, we have the Roundhouse Brass Collective, and they're at the sort of higher level of ability. Mm-hmm. Then underneath that we have our live jam and junior sessions, so you can turn up with a band or on your own, and you'll be put with a band. You work with some professionals to get better as being a band, and if you get really good, we might sign you to our label, Roundhouse Records. You might then get a session on Roundhouse Radio, or we'll put you in our studios and record a session with you. It's like a little sort of hotbed of new talent, of young talent. People come in, we put them together with other people. You're working with professionals. You're not just working with teachers. I think that's why people like it. It's a very non-standard. It's not like school. You come in there, you're working with professional musicians who are encouraging you to get better. And really, we want the people that are playing down here to one day be playing upstairs in the main space. Mm-hmm. So upstairs, we've got our main venue holds 3,118 people. We have about 150 days of the year that we program with music. We have long runs like things like the iTunes Festival, which is 30 days in September, which this year has got people like Queens of the Stone Age, Kings of Leon, Tiny Temper, pretty diverse. Then the rest of the year we have sections of the year which we program with music. Some things we program ourselves, sometimes we work with external promoters. But I try and keep the programming diverse, so it appeals to all different age groups, different genres. But above all, it's just got to be good music, all about excellent music.
You were saying how it's diverse, but what bands would you really like to see here?
Well, that's the eternal question. People always ask me that. So I've seen so many great shows here, and we've had some really amazing people like Paul McCartney and Elton John, and Red Hot Chili Peppers, all these bands that should really be playing in big arenas, but because of our culture here and our heritage, that we've got bands that would normally play Wembley Arena or the O2, they like to play here because it's just a great place to play. I think one artist I would still really like to see here is David Bowie.
Yes, same. Okay. That's a good one. Also, like relating to artists as well, and also what you were saying earlier about the courses here, which obviously I'm benefiting from. If you had to ask or employ a musician to come in and talk to people on the course to sort of motivate them and inspire them, who would you choose?
Well, it's funny when just sort of talking about Paul McCartney, and when I brought him downstairs and he was playing, I was showing him around, and for the age group that we work with, 11 to 25-year-olds that are working down here, they didn't really know who he was, even though he's one of the most famous people in the world. If I was to choose someone to come and inspire young people down here, I'd want a really young artist, someone who's just emerged, someone like Tiny Temper, Professor Green, the guy with the glasses, whose name I've forgotten.
Labyrinth.
Him. Thank you. Someone like that, someone who's a really, really amazingly talented musician, kind of works across different genres, someone who's sort of come from nothing, someone who's really worked really, really hard, someone who's kind of, but it's also someone who's approachable as well.
Yeah. If you were trying to sort of beg an artist to come here, or try and persuade them to come here, what would you say makes the Roundhouse a lot different for artists in comparison to big venues like the O2 or something like that?
We have many factors that help me sell it into artists. So you've got the uniqueness that we're a round venue. There's not many round venues in the world that are completely round. The advantage of that is that even with 3,000 people in the room, there's there's never really a back, because there isn't a back, because it's round. If you go to another 3,000 capacity room, if you're at the back, you're kind of right up there and right out the back. And I think artists like that kind of intimacy with only people that you can kind of reach out and feel, and audiences love it because they're kind of, wherever you are in the room, you still feel it pretty close, even if you're at the back, because there isn't a back. We also have the rich musical heritage that we have. So we've had, through the 60s, Pink Floyd, Jimi Hendrix, The Doors, all these kind of really classic bands that played here through the 60s and 70s. And it was really a sort of heart of kind of alternative culture through the late 60s and 70s. Everyone that sort of comes here, you get these old guys who are now roadies or truck drivers, and they come here and say, oh, I remember coming here back in 73. Everyone seems to have a Roundhouse story, which is lovely. So it's got that rich heritage. But the big selling point is the fact that we're an independent venue, and all the money that is made from the show, so every beer that's drunk, every coat that's opened in the cloakroom, every t-shirt that's brought, all that money feeds back into the work we do downstairs with 25-year-olds. It's still hard getting that message out. We're not just a big round rock and roll venue. Underneath that big round rock and roll venue, there's a whole bunch of young people doing amazing things, and that's where all that money goes. And that's, once people kind of get their heads around that, and I bring people down and show them the work we do, they think, wow, this is a really great place to play. This is much better than playing a big commercial venue elsewhere in London, where all the money that's made is just profit.